Hello, Jim.
Paul, how you doing?
I'm really well. How are you?
I'm really well myself.
Mate, you I think about 2 weeks away from the beginning of your Australian tour. What are your preparations like? Do you still rehearse or before a big tour, or do you just get out there and have a good time?
We just get out there. We've been touring so much, although we've had a big break, that it's kind of like riding a bike. You just get back in there. It's probably a good idea for everybody to go over a few songs and get their head into it. I always make sure that I stay really busy doing music when I'm home, so it's not a matter of getting your chops together. It's you just step right in.
Yeah.
And I imagine the first show is a little, but there's that excitement too. And we've played so much together that usually we just step right in, and it starts to happen pretty quickly.
And we've been pretty lucky here in Australia. We've gotten to see you quite consistently every couple of years. What are your memories of Australia?
I always think of the first time that I came out there with the band because I've been in the band 12 years now. So not from the beginning, but one of the very first tours I did was in Australia or in my early tenure with the band, which I believe was 2003. And oddly enough, I just left my gig with Sheryl Crow of 8 years. Which was a big deal, that was my gig, and I left it to be a band member in Counting Crows, and I had just gotten out of a serious relationship. All this happened within a week, and then also my grandmother died. It was three things, and then I went out on the road, and that tour was just it was wild. It was a real, which is kind of rare for us to have like a party tour, but that's what it was like out there, and I will always remember that. I kind of went a little crazy myself, and so I will remember that.
Good time.
But we love the people out there, and we always have great shows, and it's so beautiful, and we just love hanging out there. There's always such a great vibe. I look forward to going out to Australia always.
Cool. I'm look forward to having you. You kick off the tour with Blues Fest in April, and I think you're playing alongside some bands like the Black Keys, Train, George Clinton, Ben Harper, some big names. Is there anyone in particular you're excited about working with Blues Fest? Or?
It's always fun doing the festivals because exactly what you said. There's so many different bands and sometimes different styles of music. I really like to see the Black Keys. I haven't seen them. I really dig their stuff, and also just like the last time we did the festival out there, you see musicians and friends that you've toured with, and really the circles get smaller and smaller. So, Train is from the Bay Area. So, as a matter of fact, I was just on the phone with a guitar player today, and so I'll be seeing him out there, and who knows who else from just tours past. So that is always a lot of fun. It's you get to see all your friends and share the music.
Will you have time? Do you know if you'll have time while you're down here to do any sightseeing and relax, or is it all sort of a work, no play gig while you're down here?
Well, you get days off. Adam is one of those type of singers that he can't really do too many shows in a row, which will work in our benefit for having a little time off. But so we'll usually play two in a row and have a day off. Sometimes those days off are travel days, so it just depends on how inspired you are to get out there. I'm a tennis player, so I always go out and hit balls, and sometimes I'll get to see things when I'm going there, or I'll kind of work something else into my day when I do that. But yeah, it's up to you. Charlie, the keyboard player, he walks around every town we go to. That's just his thing. So some people, like Adam, will probably stay in his room a lot more. So also because he has to protect his voice. So everyone's kind of different on what they need to do to keep him going out there.
Well, speaking of Adam, he's got a bit of a reputation for frequently, I think, sort of extending and rewriting songs live on stage and adding extra verses and alternate middle sections. Is that hard to predict or play with? when he's doing that?
It definitely is, but it's also I love that part of the band. And over the years, drummers and singers really have to have a communication because you're leading the band, and the nature of the drums is to lead the band and lead them where the singer wants to go. So I really have my eyes and ears, tuned into Adam, and by this point I've really I know where he's going to go, and I know the things he's going to do just from listening. So we have a really good rapport, and it's you never know when he's going to take the left turn, and I love that about our band. Just like the set list, we're always going to be mixing it up, and we're going to have sections in songs that just go off. And some nights are better than others, but at least we're going out there and trying to do something a little different and make some music instead of just doing the same thing the same way every night.
Yeah, well, with that, obviously you're going to be playing new songs from Somewhere Under Wonderland, and I'm presuming there's going to be some classics in there as well, some of your older stuff. Do you have a preference of which one you like, or which one you like performing better?
I like mixing it all up. I mean, I really do enjoy all the records, and we try to change the set list up every night, but at the same time play a few songs from each album. Yeah. So that's one of the prerequisites that we do is we do at least a couple from each record, so you'll get to hear everything.
Well, we're all pretty excited about Somewhere Under Wonderland at the moment down here. I was wondering if you could just tell us a little bit about the album.
Well, it was we hadn't done a studio record in quite some time, which I'm sure a lot of people are aware of, and all of a sudden Adam just had, it is a lot. Everybody in the band writes, but Adam kind of has to have the original inspiration, and then he'll kind of bring something to the rest of the group, and then we'll go from there. And as he usually does, he'll write one song, and then all of a sudden in a week or two just have an explosion of ideas. And so a lot of creativity happens in a short amount of time. We really went for the live performances as we do with this band, and we really record in an old school way where everybody's playing together, and we'll get that main take, and then we'll do some overdubs from there. But bands just don't make records that way anymore. I mean, there's something to me about a bunch of musicians in a room playing music together that has been lost. Yeah. Everything is just done in a click track, and different people, they may not even be together playing. I've done records where you're not even, in the same room, or you never even meet the person, and it can be done that way, but I think it kind of takes something out of the music.
We've worked with some big names, Stevie Nicks, Dixie Chicks, Ben Folds, and as you said, Sheryl Crow before. What's the highlight of your career to date, if you could put it down to one or two things?
Wow.
I know it's a hard one.
That's a tough question. I think I've really done, I've had highlights with each of the artists that I've played with. I got to say, with Sheryl, I did some of the biggest things I've ever done just at that time. But being back in a band and being with some of my my true friends in Counting Crows, when I say true friends, there's a couple people in this band that I have such a history with. It's just amazing to be doing these huge, great gigs and looking over and you see, one of your mates that you've known since you were a kid. Yeah. That's a real gift. So yeah, I would say, and being, doing a record as a band, that's always a highlight. And I think that I put a lot of emphasis on what's going on now. Although I enjoyed a lot of things I did in the past. Right now the highlight for me is doing Somewhere Under Wonderland. That was just that my soul is in that record, and oddly enough, my daughter, my first kid, she was born during the recording of the record, so that will always make it a little special. And I remember we're in the studio. It was right at the very beginning, and she was supposed to be born before we went in the studio, but of course that didn't happen. And my wife went into labor but I had some time. But I wanted to finish a song before I went out. So there was kind of this pressure, because I knew they were going to let me go for a while, but I wanted to finish something so they could kind of work on it. Yeah. And it wasn't going well, and I went outside for a sec and just they were about to let me go, but I said, just give me a moment to get my head together. And I went outside and I said, all right, just forget the things everyone's telling you, just go in there, trust your instincts, and then bam, we just blew through this song. And then in the joy of that, we actually recorded another song right after. So I was able to record 2 songs and then rush off and see the birth. So, the stuff that's going on right now is kind of, I've had quite a year.
I saw a photo you posted on Facebook recently of your daughter. She was playing on a drum kit. Is a music career something that, would you encourage that if she chose that path?
That's another interesting and great question. Oddly enough, my dad was a musician, and he played in the San Francisco Symphony for 49 years. And when, I was banging on the pots and pans, from the time I was born, and as I started to do music later in life, I realized, wow, my dad never really, pushed me or did any of that. I could have been this kind of prodigy or something. And then, when I quizzed my dad about it, there was a part of him that really didn't want me to go into music because it's such a difficult field and there's so much competition. And I remember when I was 12 years old, he told me, look, if you're willing to practice your butt off and learn all the different styles, maybe you can make a living in music. He said, if it's worth it for you for that, then you're in the right field. If not, you could put half the energy into something else and do a lot better, so don't bother. And it was pretty tough to be hearing that at 12 years old, but it was great advice. And so I would say for myself, yes, I would encourage her because I just think it's a real gift if you find something that you really love, whatever that is, and you owe it to yourself and your religious or spiritual beliefs to kind of seek that out and see where it goes. There's a lot of people out there that haven't found something that clicks with them. So if you find something, you got to go for it.
Definitely. Well, you got to be touring for, I think, the next 3 months after Australia. You've got Canada and Europe. Have you got any other plans for later in the year?
Well, then I think we're gonna do another tour of the States, and that'll take us through into November.
Wow, big year.
So it's going to be a busy year.
Yeah. Are you bringing the family down to Australia?
I can't this time. My daughter's 15 months, and we just did a short trip to Palm Springs, and it was that age. When they were a little younger, they're a little easier to travel with than when they're a little older. But at this age, they're mobile. They want to run everywhere. They can't speak to you, but they're going to let you know that they're pissed off or they're tired. So it was, we barely flew over an hour, and I'm exhausted from the whole trip. I think to go to Australia would be a bit much. But I'll get her out when we're in the U.S., and we're going to have our breaks between tours, and I'll just have to, Skype and FaceTime with them and do our best. The good news is before this tour, I was home for 3 months straight, so it evens out.
Oh, well, thanks for chatting to us. Enjoy your trip down under, and I'll try and come back and say hello.
We always do.
I'm coming to your Melbourne show, so I'll try and get back and say hello to you and catch up there. So enjoy.
Please do. This was by far my favorite interview today, man. Great questions. Great talking to you.
Oh, cheers. Thank you so much. Well, have a great one, and happy Friday for tomorrow.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
happy
mate.
Friday for today to you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right.
Bye.
Cheers.